The morning air was sharp, scented faintly with roasted coffee and rain-soaked asphalt. Emma rushed into the little cafe on the corner, her coat damp, her eyes tired, but her heart, as always, warm. She had no idea that one small act of kindness today would change her life, and his, forever. The soldier sitting 2 tables away, his uniform neat but worn, glanced down at an empty wallet and sighed. He looked like a man used to losing things, time, peace, maybe even himself. Emma didn't know his story. She only saw someone who needed a little grace. When she quietly told the barista, "Add his coffee to my tab," she didn't expect to be seen, let alone remembered. But fate had already begun writing the next chapter in their lives. He noticed her just as she walked out, her brown hair tucked beneath a knitted cap, her smile soft but fleeting. Something about her gesture, simple, selfless, stuck with him. For years, people had stared at him with pity or pride. She just saw him. And for reasons he couldn't explain, he wanted to see her again. A week later, Emma returned to the cafe. The same table, the same scent of coffee and cinnamon. But this time, he was waiting. When she first saw him again, she froze, unsure if he'd recognized her. "You're the coffee girl," he said, a small smile breaking the lines of wear on his face. "I've been hoping to run into you. I just bought you a coffee," Emma said, embarrassed. "It was nothing." "To me," he replied, "it was everything." He told her his name was Luke, a soldier recently discharged, trying to find his footing in a civilian world that no longer felt familiar. He'd been moving from town to town, looking for something he couldn't quite name. Emma, a nurse who worked double shifts at the hospital, knew what it was to feel lost, too. The two began meeting there, sharing quiet mornings before her shifts, laughing between sips of coffee, trading stories about pain, hope, and second chances. But Luke carried a secret, a name he never mentioned, a past he kept buried. He'd been born into the Sinclair family, owners of one of the largest estates in the country. The Sinclairs were wealthy beyond measure, but fractured by greed and betrayal. Years ago, after a bitter family fallout, Luke left everything behind, enlisting in the army under a different name. No one had heard from him since. They assumed he was dead. He preferred it that way, until Emma. One night, while they walked by the river, the streetlights casting long golden streaks across the water, Emma asked, "What will you do now, Luke? You've seen too much to stay still, but too little peace to keep running." His silence was long. "Maybe I'll try staying for once," he said. "If I have a reason to." Her eyes met his. "Then find one," she whispered. He did. Her. Weeks passed. Their bond deepened, quiet, sincere, unspoken. But fate never allows peace without a test. One afternoon, a black car pulled up outside the cafe. A man stepped out, sharply dressed, with a face Luke hadn't seen in years. "Luke Sinclair," the man said, voice trembling. "You're alive. Your father's dying. He's been searching for you." The words hit like a storm. Emma stood frozen as Luke's world, the one he'd fought to leave behind, came crashing back. That night, he told her everything, his name, his wealth, the inheritance he'd run from, and the guilt that had chased him. "They wanted me to be someone I wasn't," he said bitterly. "The money, the power, it changes people. I didn't want it to change me." Emma listened quietly, tears brimming. "Maybe it's not about what they want," she said. "Maybe it's about what you can do with what you have." Her words stayed with him. When Luke returned to his family estate, the mansion loomed like a memory carved from stone. His father, frail and pale, reached for his hand. "You left," the old man whispered. "But I never stopped hoping you'd find your way home." Luke's heart softened. "Maybe I needed to lose everything to understand what home really means." He stayed until his father passed and the estate was his. But he didn't stay there. He sold most of the holdings, keeping only the old family cafe in town, the very one where he met Emma. On the day it reopened, he stood behind the counter, apron tied loosely around his waist. Emma walked in, her expression full of disbelief. "You bought it?" she asked, laughing through tears. "I did," he said softly. Because this place gave me more than coffee. It gave me you. She walked toward him, her eyes shimmering. And what will you do with your fortune, Mr. Sinclair? He smiled. Share it with the woman who taught me that kindness is the only real wealth. Years later, when people visited the cafe, they often saw a framed photo on the wall, two people smiling behind the counter, a small plaque beneath it reading, "It started with a cup of coffee," and a heart full of kindness. No one knew the whole story, but those who did often said it was proof that fate doesn't always shout. It whispers softly through the smallest acts of love, and sometimes the person you save without knowing ends up saving you right back.